What is going on, everybody? Today I'll be previewing the 2024 college football schedule for Duke. I will go through every game on their schedule and I will predict which games on the schedule I think they will win, and I will also predict which games on the schedule I think they will lose. But before we preview their schedule, let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel, because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing. And also consider joining my Discord server down in the description below. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Last season, Duke finished with the 8-5 record. Duke started off the season very hot, beating Clemson and starting with the 4-0 record, and they came really close to beating Notre Dame and moving to 5-0. But after Riley Leonard started dealing with injuries, this team started to go downhill and they lost to Florida State, which was expected, but then they got shut out by Louisville. And it really started to go downhill from there. They would lose to North Carolina and Virginia after that. And if Riley Leonard stays healthy all season, this team could very well be a 9 or 10 win team. But they did end up only winning 8 games, including a bowl win over Troy. Unfortunately, Duke lost head coach Mike Elko, and they lose quarterback Riley Leonard, who transferred to Notre Dame. Duke also loses their starting running back Jordan Waters. They lose a bunch of talent on both sides of the ball, but the defense should be solid again. And the offense is a big question mark, but they returned number 1 receiver Jordan Moore, who had over 800 receiving yards last season. They have some pieces on that offensive side who could really help them out. They had to bring in a lot of offensive linemen out of the transfer portal, but most importantly, the X factor for this team has to be new transfer portal quarterback from Texas, Malik Murphy. He's definitely got potential. He played solid last season when he was the backup to Quinn Ewers, and he was a 4-star high school prospect. Duke could definitely be a sleeper ACC team, but I think we kind of have to wait and see with this team. The head coach Manny Diaz will be an interesting year 1 head coach for this Duke team. I'm very excited to see just how good this Duke team could be going forward, because there are a lot of unknowns about this team. But I'm not going to lie, I would love to see Duke football carry over their success from the last couple of seasons. But anyways, let's get into predicting their schedule. And they open the season playing at home against Elon. Elon is an FCS opponent, and this should be an easy win for Duke. This will be the cupcake game on the schedule, so I definitely have Duke winning this game and moving to 1-0 on the season. The next game for Duke will be on the road against Northwestern. This Northwestern team is going to be very good on the defensive side. They return 88% of production on defense, which is actually first in the whole country. The defense for Northwestern only allowed 22 points a game last season. Duke beat this team by 24 points last season. But Northwestern got a lot better near the end of last season, and they beat Utah in their bowl game and finished with an 8-5 record just like Duke did last season. These two teams are going to be pretty different teams from where they were at the start of last season. And I think that this game could go absolutely either way. But I do think that Duke does find a way to sneak past Northwestern and win this game, because I think Duke has the talent advantage in this game. So I have Duke move it to 2-0 on the season. The next game for Duke will be at home against Yukon. Duke beat this Yukon team 41-7 last season. Yukon has not had a winning season since 2010, and this is another pretty easy game on the non-conference schedule for Duke. So I have Duke winning this game and move it to 3-0 on the season. The next game for Duke will be on the road against Middle Tennessee. Again, the non-conference schedule for Duke is very easy next season. Middle Tennessee wasn't great last season and they went 4-8. They did battle with Missouri, so maybe Middle Tennessee gives Duke a game, but Duke should definitely win this game, and I have Duke going undefeated in their non-conference schedule, so I have Duke move it to 4-0 on the season. The next game for Duke will be at home against North Carolina. I am personally not too high on this North Carolina team heading into next season. They rank near the bottom of the country for return on production, and they lose quarterback Drake May. The defense for North Carolina has a lot to clean up. North Carolina should be solid because they do return Amarion Hampton at running back, who was one of the best running backs in the country. And they do have some talent on the offensive side, and the offense should be decent. Max Johnson could be a decent replacement at quarterback, but he is not Drake May, and I think Mac Brown is kind of at the end of the road with this North Carolina team. If they couldn't get it done with all the talent last season, I don't think they will be much better in 2024, because they really lose a lot. And I think Duke will win a close game, so I have Duke move it to 5-0 on the season. The next game for Duke will be on the road against Georgia Tech. I'm pretty high on this Georgia Tech team. I think Brent Key has this team heading in the right direction. Georgia Tech has a brutal schedule next season, and they will have to fight just to make a bowl game. But regardless, I think this team is going to see improvement even if their record does not show it. Georgia Tech returns 83% of offensive production, and they have one of the top ACC quarterbacks, Haynes King, returning. The defense is a concern. They lost 14 defensive players to the transfer portal, and the defense already needed a lot of help. But Georgia Tech did hire new defensive coordinator Tyler Santucci from Duke, so we will see if he helps improve the defense. But regardless, I really like this Georgia Tech offense, and Georgia Tech will have this game at home. So I do have Duke losing a tough game on the road and move it to 5-1 on the season. Following their game against Georgia Tech, Duke will have a bye week, and then they play Florida State at home. If Duke wants a chance to make a statement, then this is the game to do it. And if they win this game could absolutely get them in the ACC title race. They have a bye week, and then they're going to have this game at home on a Friday night. Florida State also has a bye week heading into this game though. But I could see Duke giving Florida State a tough game. This is definitely going to be a fun game, but I am really high in Florida State, and Mike Norvell is one of the best coaches in college football. He has led them to back-to-back double-digit win seasons, and he uses the transfer portal and recruits at a very high level. And I think Florida State will continue to be that top dog in the ACC and dominate. And I think Florida State wins a tough game on the road, so I have Duke losing this game and move it to 5-2 on the season. The next game for Duke will be at home against SMU. SMU is going to be playing their first season in the ACC next season. They were pretty good last season in the group of 5, but the question is, can they carry over their momentum in the ACC against tougher competition? We have a lot of questions with this SMU team, but I expect them to be solid. They have a solid defense and returned Preston Stone at quarterback, who missed the end of last season. I think SMU will be a pretty competitive team in the ACC, and they are a dark horse to contend for the ACC championship, and they can definitely mix up that ACC title race. But I think I trust Duke to win a close game at home, so I have Duke winning this game and move it to 6-2 on the season. The next game for Duke will be on the road against Miami. I am very high on Miami, and I think that they will be a top contender for the 2024 ACC championship. They should be a lot more talented than this Duke team, and I think Miami has a top 10 college football quarterback with Cam Ward joining the team. Miami has a win total of 9.5, and I think they are a step ahead of Duke. I definitely trust the trend with this Miami team, and I think Duke loses this game on the road, so I have Duke moving to 6-3 on the season. The next game for Duke will be on the road against NC State. There are a couple of teams in the ACC that I think are really being slept on, and one of those teams are NC State, and I could see them winning double-digit games and making the ACC championship. NC State has had many 8 or 9 win seasons, but believe it or not, they have actually only had one double-digit win season in school history. NC State is good, but can they finally be great? I think the offense for NC State is underrated heading into next season. They returned Kevin Concepcion at receiver, who had an amazing season only as a freshman, and he could wreak havoc in the ACC as a sophomore. They also picked up Duke starting running back Jordan Waters. They picked up 2 decent receivers out of the transfer portal, Noah Rogers from Ohio State and Wesley Grimes from Wake Forest. But they also bring in arguably the best quarterback from the group of 5, Grayson McCall. Grayson McCall is a very underrated addition at quarterback for this team in my opinion. The defense for NC State should also be solid, even if they lose their top linebacker. But I'm very high in NC State, and I have Duke losing this game on the road and move it to 6-4 on the season. Following their game against NC State, Duke will have a bye week, and then they play Virginia Tech at home. I'm also very high in Virginia Tech, and they are another one of those sleeper teams, and similar to NC State, I see Virginia Tech being in that ACC title race. Virginia Tech is first in the country for returning production, and this Virginia Tech team really impressed me last season. They went 5-2 in their final 7 games, and they dominated Tulane in their bowl game to finish the season. Virginia Tech should be solid on both sides of the ball, and I wouldn't be surprised if this team went on a run and made some noise, definitely with Kyron Jones returning at quarterback. And if Kyron Jones levels up even more, this team could be very solid. And I think that Duke loses another tough game, so I have Duke move it to 6-5 on the season. But the final game of the season for Duke will be on the road against Wake Forest. Wake Forest finished last in the ACC last season, and this team has some concerns heading into next season. I think that they have some pieces that could potentially sneak them into a bowl game. They have a very good pair of receivers returning, but there are concerns at the quarterback position. The Louisiana Tech transfer quarterback will likely win the job, but I'm just not very high in this Wake Forest team. I think Duke will win this game, so I have Duke finishing the season with a 3-5 conference record and a 7-5 overall record. I think Duke will take a bit of a step down next season, but I do think they have potential to surprise some people if they put it all together. There's a lot of solid teams in the ACC, and they have a pretty tough conference schedule, and I don't really see Duke competing for an ACC championship next season, but the ACC is completely wide open, and Duke is a team to watch out for, because the offense has potential to improve in 2024, and they have a capable defense. But anyways, you guys let me know how many games you think Duke will win in 2024 down in the comments below. But that is going to do it for today's video. Let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel, because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing and help me hit 1,000 subs. And also consider joining my Discord server down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.